So I start playing on this 3DS, just amazed that my plan worked. Until my mom had got off the phone and she said the head coach of the camp had just called her and said a child had had his Nintendo 3DS stolen.
I'm falling and I can't turn back.
Now, if you grew up without a phone, like a normal child, the Nintendo was most likely your best friend. So, if you never had a Nintendo device or system growing up, then I would just like to take a moment to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry you never cried over the fact that your friend killed you 3 times in Smash Bros. Using the same move. I'm sorry you never experienced the joy of finally beating Bowser after hours and hours of hard work. I'm sorry you never experienced sadness, happiness, and love. So in other words, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that your childhood sucked. So now that you know my stance on owning something Nintendo, I would like to tell you a story about the first time I ever stole a Nintendo 3DS, and then swiftly getting my ass beat. Let's get into it. So this story starts back when I was like 10, and the 3DS hadn't been out long. My parents had put me in this basketball summer camp, and there were around 15 kids in my age range. Now the victim of this story is a kid named Corey. Wait, hold on, that was a bar. Let me write this down. Hold on. So the victim of this story is a kid named Corey. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, Corey. So Corey had to be one of the most annoying children on the planet. Like, I was annoying as a kid, of course, but he took it to brand new levels. Like, I remember this one time, I was just minding my business, right? And I just bought a package of fruit snacks. And as soon as I opened them, he strolls up behind me and just slaps them out of my hand. Before I could even eat them. All of them on the floor. There was nothing I could do about it. What would I look like if I just ate all of them off the floor? Disgusting. But do you want to know something about Corey? Huh? Well, Corey was the only person in the entire camp with a Nintendo 3DS. That's right, this little turd had a 3DS and I didn't. And what made the situation even worse was Corey would always come to camp with his 3DS and just rub it in. And at the time, I really wanted a 3DS, but I wasn't persistent enough with asking my mom. You know what I'm talking about? When you have black parents, you have to persistently ask them for something just to get them to think about getting it for you, especially as a kid. Like, if I was to ask my parents only once for a PS4 at age 7, what do you think would happen? A, they would say, of course son, we love you, ask for whatever you'd like. B, they would say, PS4, anything else? No iPhone or computer? Or C, they'll just say no. You know what? I'll give you 10 seconds to answer. That's right, the answer is D. They will ask, what are you talking about? And then once you show and explain to them what a PS4 is, they'll forget everything you said within a matter of seconds. So this 3DS. Whenever Corey would do something annoying, I would just imagine myself stealing his 3DS. But I would never execute the plan. Until one day, when we went on this trip. The camp was sort of set up like school. I would go Monday through Friday, 8 to 3. But on Fridays, we would usually go on trips to places like Six Flags, Split Splash, Dave & Buster's. But on this trip in particular, it was a barbecue held at a park. Once we got to the park, we either played in the park itself or at this nearby basketball court while the food was being prepared. And there was this girl, let's call her Juliana. And she wasn't attractive, but she was there. and she talked to me. And well, that was enough at the time. So we're playing, and I'm just thinking about what I should say to her. And Corey pulls up and says something that I remember really hurting my feelings. He says, "Hey, yo, Chris, why you got a peanut head?" And I didn't know how to react to that. I was with a female, so he caught me off guard. Now, my whole childhood, people made fun of the size of my head. But not only did he bring it up all smooth like, making me feel so small and worthless, he made fun of my head in front of a female. Now that's just cruel and diabolical. And what did I say back to him? Nothing. I didn't know what to say back to him. I was just frozen with fear and embarrassment. To make matters worse, Juliana starts laughing and then walks away with Corey talking about complete BS. And at this point, I was so mad that I was close to crying. This kid took my girl and my dignity? Man, I didn't know what to do. Everyone who was on the court was staring at me, or they were laughing at what just happened. Or both. All I could do was walk away. And I did just that. And I walked to the benches where all the bags of the campers were. I walked to a friend of mine that I knew from outside the camp named Elijah. And as I was walking back, I realized how I could get Corey back for what he did. I started to think of what was his most beloved item. What would he go to war for? What would he cry over? Then I thought of it. His 3DS. He took my crush, I take his 3DS. It was only fair. At the time, I didn't think I would be able to pull off the heist by myself. So I said to Elijah, "You know Corey, right?" "Yeah." "Let's take his 3DS. "Yeah." That's exactly what he said, and that's exactly how he said it. And looking back, I'm realizing I was the mastermind behind the whole operation, and I didn't really need Elijah to pull it off. But I never pulled it off. Nevertheless, Elijah did make me feel more comfortable about what I was doing. We maneuver our way over to his bag, and while Elijah's the lookout, I'm stealing the 3DS. And while I'm taking it out, my heart is racing. I was really gonna steal his 3DS and get away with it. Once I took it out, the plan was for me to put it in Elijah's bag. We knew whoever's bag it would go into, they would take the device home. Of course, I would have loved to take it home, but I just wanted Corey to feel the same pain he applied to me. I got ready to give the 3DS to Elijah, but I look at this Negro's bag, and he has a see-through backpack. A see-through backpack. Now at the time, I was just questioning what Elijah thought was gonna happen if we actually put the 3DS in his bag. No matter, we didn't have time to discuss Elijah's mental processing. We needed to steal this 3DS as fast as possible. We quickly put the 3DS in my bag, and I feel no remorse. Corey deserved worse, and in my eyes, he needed to pay. So fast forward to the car ride home, and I'm just thinking of what I'm gonna tell my mom once she sees me playing with this 3DS. And let me tell you, at the time, I thought the plan that I came up with was quite genius. So the plan was to put the 3DS under a cabinet in the basement and say I found it there. I honestly forgot my logic for this, and at the time, I honestly thought my lie was so smart that I was on the level of Einstein. So as soon as I get into the house, I go to the basement and put the 3DS under the cabinet for 0.2 seconds, and then I retrieve it, and I thought the mission was complete. We got him. I didn't even wait for my mom to see the 3DS in the basement. But in my eyes, I thought it was a W. Once I got out from the basement, my mom of course asked me what I was doing there. And I told her. I found the 3DS in the basement. And for sure she didn't believe me. But before she started asking me more questions, she gets a phone call. So since she didn't start asking me questions like she would if she didn't believe me, I'm thinking I got away with something. So I start playing on this 3DS, just amazed that my plan worked. Until my mom had got off the phone, and she said the head coach of the camp had just called her and said a child that had his Nintendo 3DS stolen. I am shitting myself. I don't know what to do or what to say. I never thought I'd get this far, so I have no plan. So I'm looking at my mom, looking at me, looking at her, looking at me, and she says, "Christian, please don't tell me that's not the child's. Take off your clothes and get on the bed." What? Take off your clothes and get on the bed. I'm not telling you again. And then my mom had whooped me. She whooped my ass bad. You know when your parents say, "This is gonna hurt me a lot more than it's gonna hurt you"? Well, in this case, it was true. Physically, of course, it had hurt me more than her. But mentally and emotionally, she was torn up. That's when I realized what I had done wrong. I'd stolen and lied to her. I'd let her down. So what's the takeaway from the story? There is no excuse for stealing or lying. You need to take a look at yourself if you are willing to hurt others for your own benefit. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. Took me a while to make it, so a like and sub would be much appreciated. My mom actually did buy me a 3DS later, so mom, if you're watching this, you the GOAT. And this is my first ever animation, so some honest comments would be also much appreciated, especially if you are an animator yourself. Haha. I don't know what that was. Anyways, I'd like to go somewhere with this channel, so you'll most likely be seeing more of these. So thanks for watching this video and subscribe.